What's going on, fellas? It's your boy, the Giant Way, coming back with another video. I know I've been gone for quite a bit. Just had to been taking care of some business for work, um, and family and things like that. So now that that's done, man, let's get into this live reaction of the Joe Schoen press conference for the bye. This is a blind reaction. I have not watched this yet. So let's get into it.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out today. Obviously, we're sitting here at 2-8 and not where we want to be. Nobody's happy about it. Ownership, Dave's, me, coaches, people in the building, the fans, and I understand that. What we're going to do the rest of the week is, do self-evaluation on the roster, personnel, and try to find solutions as we move forward. These last 7 games. So that's what we'll focus on this week. The guys came in, had a good day of practice today, lifted, had meetings, and we'll start circling up with the coaches tomorrow and the rest of the week, and see how we can look to turn the ship as we go forward the rest of the season. So
2-8 here in year 3 of this rebuild. Shouldn't you guys be better, and why aren't you?
Yeah, nobody's happy that we're 2-8. And that's what we're going to do the rest of the week, Daryl. I understand the question, and we don't want to be sitting here at 2-8. And I agree with what you said. It's year 3 and we're 2-8, and it's not where we want to be. And we're going to start looking for solutions. We do it every week. You go to each game and, you're looking at matchups and being competitive. And, we've been competitive in the games. We got to find ways to finish games. And that's what we'll do the rest of the week. How can we, whether it's the way we practice, the way we're doing things, scheme, coaching, personnel, whatever it is, we're going to look under every rock and, try to figure out solutions moving forward. We got 7 games left, so there's still a lot of time to play.
Daniel, this year, Joe?
Yeah, in general, it's not just, I understand the question and you want to, pull him out, but it's everybody. Everybody's got a hand in this. Again, I know being the quarterback and offense coordinator, head coach, a lot of people like to point to those guys in general. Daniel's played some good games, and there's some games where, maybe like to have some throws back or do things differently. But in general, it's not one individual or, one situation.
One thing I would say is that, I agree with what Joe is saying, that it's really not one individual, but the constant is Daniel Jones. Like, yes, the offensive line has not been great. Yes, the Malik has had some drops, some key drops in some games. But overall, the play of Daniel Jones has not helped the New York Giants win. I can see if Daniel Jones was making those throws when guys are open on time and the guys weren't catching it, then all right, I can see like, all right, this isn't on Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones is not even giving these guys a shot. I don't know what is going on with his timer or what's going on in his mind for what counts as an open wide receiver to him, because that Hail Mary or not that Hail Mary, that play action going across the field where Daniel Jones took that sack in the game, bro, we had 2 people wide open. The pocket was clean enough for him to make a decision. Even if you don't hit the target, like, bro, you didn't even throw it. So those are the types of things that it is on Daniel Jones, and we do need better play. Like, in those moments, we absolutely need better play from our quarterback. And Daniel Jones has shown us from time to time that he's just not able to make that decision. He's not able to have that anticipation to throw guys open, and it's hurting us severely. It's killing us.
That keeps occurring, unfortunately. So whether it's, defense is on the field at the end of the game and we've got a chance to close it out, or, offense has the ball in a couple of different games and we could go down and score and, close the game out. So again, we're going to look at solutions and, we're going to evaluate everything like Dave said yesterday. And, that's what we'll do moving forward here.
How would you evaluate Brian right now? Brian Dable.
Yeah, again, we're 2-8. So again, we're going to look at solutions. He's coming in every day. He's working hard. The team is staying together. We had a really good practice today on a bye week, which is the first time we've done that in his 3 years here. And, again, he's done a really good job. But the guys are competing, keeping the locker room together. And again, we're in these games. we're in these games. We just got to find a way to finish it. That's 1-5 in.
He's right. We are in the games. We're definitely in the games, and this is the frustrating part for me because we are in the games and we're losing. Like, that's the frustrating part because we should be winning. Like, guys, our record at best, I feel like we should be at least 5-2, at least at best, at least. And some of the decision making that was done in the games from Dave's did cost us the game. So that's where I'm like, I get frustrated with Dave because in the games for Daniel Jones, in this last game that we just played versus the Panthers, Dave's called a pretty decent game. And again, we just had some mess ups by either the play wasn't able to develop or Daniel Jones just flat out missed an opportunity. And it's just like for Dave's, a lot of people, like, we've been getting on him for calling better games. But I mean, if your quarterback's not pulling the trigger, what can you do about that? There's not much that you could do besides a quarterback change. I think he knows that Drew Lock is not the answer. I don't think that, we're going to do any better, but we do have this $20 million over our head because of Daniel Jones. And I'm to the point where if they decide to sit him, it's going to crush me. Like, it's going to hurt me, guys. Like, because everyone knows, man, I am a big Daniel Jones fan. But again, man, nobody's bigger than the team to me. Like, nobody is bigger than the team. So if you're not benefiting the team, bro, then it's time for you to go. It's very unfortunate, and I hate that is what it's come to. But we need a different quarterback. The Giants need someone else at the helm just to see, like, what can we do? Because I feel like our team is very talented, and it's being wasted. So I'm ready just to move on from there. It's gonna hurt. We're gonna have to take the dog out in the back and shoot it. But again, man, nobody's bigger than the team.
In 1-score games. So, we got to find a way to get over the hump and make plays at critical times of the game, whether it's red zone, third down, or getting off the field on defense, or tackling on punt coverage and not allowing a punt return for a touchdown. Again, there's a lot of things that we can look at and we need to improve on, and that's what we're going to do the rest of the week.
Put this team together. It's your roster. When you look at it from what you thought you were going into the season to now, do you look down at this personnel and say, this team is not good enough? I didn't put a good enough, I didn't give the coaches enough.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, Paul.
So why, if the players aren't good enough, then it's got to be the coaching. So
I don't think it's not players. It's not one individual. That'd be easy fix if we could say, hey, it's this. Like, everybody's got their hand in this, Paul. Myself included. It starts with me.
Facts.
And we have a really good rookie class, that's playing well. We have the youngest defense in the league. We're 17th in defense and we're 23rd in offense. We're middle of the pack. So there's not a large margin for error when you go into some of these games, and it's 4 to 5 plays a game that make the difference. And that's what we got to figure out, how to make the plays in critical moments to get over the hump. And I saw a stat last week. I think it was, through week 9 of the NFL season. I don't have the updated week 10, but the most 1-score games in the history of the NFL. I mean, that's what it is. It's close games. There's parity, and we're 1-5 in those close games. And we're going to look for solutions and find ways to make plays in critical parts of the game where we can get over the hump when it matters the most. And we're not far off.
Do you think that stat doesn't say that much about the team then? Because if everybody's competitive, every game's competitive. I mean, if you look at it from a bigger picture, you guys are like 5th in point differential, the biggest point differential. So I'm like, being competitive is,
I would say red zone.
Higher, right?
I would say red zone is important, and we're last in the league in red zone. Okay, so we're moving the ball, we're getting down there, and we get in critical situations, and we're 32nd in red zone. We got to find a way to put the ball in the end zone, and that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it.
Why do you?
And we playing against the rest.
Why do you think you haven't been able to score?
Yeah, that's what we're going to look at this week. I mean, we do it every week. We look at it every week, and again, whether it's execution, it's scheme, it's personnel, whatever it is, we have to figure it out. And we believe we have the players in the building to do it. And it's execution. And it's not one individual each week. It's some guys, maybe we have penalties, or, there's a drop, or we fumble, or, it's just, there's everybody's got a hand in it, and we just got to figure out how to come out and play a clean game with complementary football. And we've done that. We won.
Joe, how much of a role will Daniel's contract and the injury guarantee play into how much he plays for the rest of the season?
Yeah, we're going to evaluate everything the rest of the week, and the decisions we make will be football decisions.
So that won't be involved in the analysis here.
It will be a football decision. And any decisions we make moving forward as we evaluate the roster and what we're doing for the final 7 games will be football decisions.
Joe, how do you see Daniel specifically, his long-term future with the franchise?
We have 7 games left in this season, and that's what we're focused on. I'm focused on 2024 and how we can get better these final 7 games. And again, we have 19 of 22 starters are under contract for next year. I believe it's 41 players on the 53. So there is a young nucleus of players here and some veterans that are going to be together, and we're in a position where we have some continuity. So again, as this team grows together, it's important over these.
But my question for that, Joe, is just like, what groups are going to have the continuity? Because there's a lot of groups, if we're looking at position-wise, that are sporadic and could use some improvement across the board. Starting with the offensive line, like, yes, you did a great job at the beginning of the season patching the offensive line together. But after this season, the older guys, the veterans, do you really think they're going to want to come back? Do you really think that they're really going to want to finish the end of their career rebuilding the New York Giants? I don't think so. Like, I honestly believe that for us, we're going to have to bite the bullet, and we're going to have to build our offensive line through the draft. That is the only way. We can only patch it for so long, and it has not worked for us. And it's time to really, really sink our feet in the sand and build our offensive line. Yes, I know that it sucks, and I know that we might not be competitive, maybe not. But again, guys, we have to focus on the basic fundamentals of football, and the game is won in the trenches, period. That's where it starts. If we do not fix that, it does not matter what happens next. It doesn't matter what quarterback we bring in. It doesn't matter what wide receiver we have. It doesn't matter what running back that we have. If we cannot do the basics of completing a play, meaning protection, however that is, it's not going to work, and we will never be successful. So we got to figure this out, man.
These final 7 weeks that, a lot of these guys are going to be together again next year. And we're finally in a position where there will be some continuity year over year. And, it's important that we find ways to win games.
Because I feel like that's BS, man, because a lot of these people are not going to be together, because if some of these guys are still here, I have an issue with that. DJ Davidson, I'm sorry. Unless you completely change your body, you don't have a place here. Nacho, I love the energy that he brings, but he's not the best option when it comes to when Dexter's out the game. You got to go. We still don't know how healthy Kayvon's going to be with his wrist. Brian Birds is coming into his own, and Dexter, we already know what we have in Dex. So I just what groups are going to have this continuity, because our DBs atrocious. We already let some of our DBs go. I don't see much growth from Cordell Flott. We all know that Banks is damn near a bust. And on the other side, we don't have anyone. So it's just where's this continuity coming from? I want to know exactly what he's talking about. I don't believe that McFadden will be a starter for us anymore after this season. We have to address that situation, because he is the liability in coverage, especially in open space, man. I've seen him whiff so many tackles in open space, and we just cannot have that, man. We can't. I think McFadden is a great run stopper. But where is this continuity coming from? Because the only room that seems that it's kind of put together is the wide receiver room, and really not really, because we just have guys playing. We just have talent. We don't really have any leaders. I don't feel like Malik is all the way there yet, and of course there's room to grow for him. This is just his rookie season, so I'm not really too worried about Malik, but this continuity thing that he's talking about, man, where and when? Because the way I look at this team, man, it's not fixed. We still have plenty of holes that need to be patched up. And there's just some things that we just can't continue to omit, and that's just the offensive line, in my opinion. A lot of people might think differently, but that's just me, man. The basics do not change for this game, guys. We're playing a game. Well, they're playing a game. It's a football game. It's a game. That's all it is. So nothing changes. Yes, some strategies may change, but that's about it, man. The fundamentals do not change. So let's get back to the fundamentals so we can get back to championship Giant football.
Specifically those ones I spoke about earlier when it's close. And that's part of changing the culture and expecting to win. You don't want it to be here we go again. And some of that's a mindset that we're still trying to develop. And we do have a young team. We have the youngest defense in the league. We have Theo, Tracy, Neighbor, some young guys on offense that they're playing major roles for us and contributing. And, it's important for them to grow and learn how to win games as well.
Did Drew or Tommy get any snaps with the first team today? Like, are you turning it into a competition with Daniel at this point?
Yeah, it wasn't the typical practice, Pat. So no, it wasn't. There was no first team reps.
There have been several players who are on this team that left in free agency and have had substantial success elsewhere. Do you want to reevaluate at all how you decide where the money's allocated in terms of in-house free agents, letting guys go, letting guys walk at all?
Are you talking about me specifically?
Yeah, meaning Giants players who went on elsewhere.
I mean,
you can go Julian, X, Saquon, anything like that.
Yeah, I like Tyler Newman. He's played well for us. He's one of the only rookies playing 99% of the defensive, play time. He's leading rookies in tackles. So I'm excited about him. Tyrone Tracy also leading rookies, in terms of rushing. So I'm excited about the young players that we have. And that's the build's tough. It hurts sometimes as you're going through it, but you got to go through it to get to the other side. And I like the young foundation that we've put in place, whether it's Burns and Dex and Kayvon, and there's some pieces that are going to be in play, Neighbors, the rookies I talked about, Theo. There's some young pieces here in place in terms of the foundation that we're going to continue to build on. And another year of free agency and another draft, we're not far off. We're not far off.
You got enough players for that young foundation in your first two drafts? You mentioned.
Yeah, I would say I like the guys in our first two drafts. Again, it's where we were then and what we were trying to do by moving back, and we needed players. Like, there were 5 healthy offensive linemen on the roster at the time. So, there were players or situations you were in trying to fill out the roster, whether it was depth player with some of those guys or certain roles that they developed. Flott is a 3rd round pick that's played solid this year for us, and he plays nickel. And Wandell's turned into a good slot receiver. I think he's in the top 10 in receptions in the league. And some guys are role players. You need those guys as well. So wish I could bat 1,000. You always want to do that. But again, I believe in the people in the building. I believe in our process. I believe in the research that we do, the work we're doing. I think, you saw the results this last offseason with the draft that we had. And, I look forward to, continuing to hopefully have some drafts that compare to this one.
You should believe in the process. As an outsider who's not in the building, why should they believe in the process? Because the results obviously aren't what anyone wants.
Yeah, and nobody's happy that we're 2-8. I don't disagree with you, but I believe in the process. And again, I believe where we're going. And again, building it sometimes it hurts and it's painful and it's hard to go through it, but we're going in the right direction.
Joe, do you think, because you mentioned how painful it is for a rebuild, because you won 9 games in your first year, you guys won a playoff game, I don't know if you changed the approach for year 2, or do you think that the rebuild now is viewed differently because of maybe moves you made coming off of year 1 versus maybe having the last 2 years as your first 2 years?
Yeah, I thought a lot about that, Art, and there's probably truth to that. You come off a winning season, some of the issues were maybe masked or you were blinded a little bit by it, because of the success. And, then once we extended Daniel, you try to accelerate it because the way, that contract was structured, and you got to make mistakes too. I wish I came into this job and I didn't make any mistakes. And I think anybody that is anybody in their job, you as a writer, I'm sure you're better your 3rd year or 4th year than you were the first year. And there were some parts of the process when I evaluated it that maybe were overlooked or I could have done a better job?
That would be the offensive line, 1,000%. Again, that first year, the offensive line was playing okay, but we saw the signs, guys. We saw how bad Evan Neal was playing, and then the next year coming into it in the preseason, we saw how bad he was playing. And look, I'm all for having faith in our young guys, but at the end of the day, man, there's nothing wrong with saying that this guy is not ready. There's nothing wrong with that. And if they can't accept that and that doesn't give them the willpower to work harder, then that's not your type of guy that you want on the roster. I mean, the offensive line was atrocious in 2023. That completely derailed everything. It derailed everything. And honestly, for Daniel Jones to play how he did and to stand in there and just pretty much just be a target in the pocket, that says a lot about his toughness, man. And again, guys, this is the unfortunate part about this situation for Daniel Jones, because how can you build on a playoff run like that when you can't be protected? There's no way. And then even with that, we have guys dropping the ball. We know in 2023 that was the year of the ball on the ground. We couldn't complete a pass. We couldn't do anything. So I feel like there were a lot of things that he overlooked. And this is the part that scares me because, again, everyone's screaming this quarterback. And believe me, if we have the top 3 picks, we absolutely need to take a quarterback. I am no fool. Like, I'm not dumb, guys. But if we're anything past that, then okay, then we might need to think about looking at another position. But we do need to focus on the offensive line this draft. We have to focus on building depth for the offensive line, finding a cornerback, a starting quarterback. We not just the number 2. We need to find a number 1. Maybe Banks can be the number 2, but we need a starting cornerback and we need a running mate for Dexter Lawrence. We need to fix those things. Everything else can be patched. Everything else can be veterans, free agency, but we need a foundation on those positions. Dex is not going to be here forever, guys. At some point, we have to build for him to leave. That's the same thing that the Eagles are doing. That's how they run their team, and that's why they're so successful, is because they build for the future, and they also build for their division. They dominate their division because of the players that they have and the style of play that they play. This is not rocket science. It's a game. This is a game, guys.
In the evaluation process or player procurement process, and that's part of growth. You know, I did make some mistakes or some decisions I wish I'd have back, but you know, I like the direction we're going. I like my team. I like my strategy. You know, the groups that help me in research and strategy, my scouting department. We've got a good coaching staff, and I truly believe we're heading in the right direction.
Joe, you worry about alienating players in the locker room with moves like cutting Nick McLeod, a starter on the team midseason, or even going back to the way Saquon was handled? Like, do you worry about alienating players in that regard?
No. Is that like? I mean, we've had active roster play. I mean, Boogie Basham, Whitley. We've got guys that were on the active roster that are now on the practice squad. So I don't know how that alienates anybody or.
Well, some players don't understand the rationale behind a move like that, right? It's a starter. It's a guy who brings obvious value. I mean, you have players and coaches on the record saying, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was valuable to our team. So I'm just saying, as a general manager, when you're making a hard decision that you believe is right for certain reasons, do you think you risk losing the players in the team because they don't see the rationale behind it?
No. And again, no matter what decision I make, there's going to be popular and it's going to be unpopular. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. And not everybody's going to agree with everything I do. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that disagree and agree. So it's the nature of the business. You got to get comfortable with making the decision. And that was early on in this, that was hard to do. When you have to make those difficult decisions, you always think about the locker room. You think about the impact down there, and you also want to do what's best for the organization. So you take all that into account, and I'm close with these guys too. I'm close with the players, and it stinks sometimes when you have to cut them. I don't want to do that. And they have lives and families, and we're around these guys a lot, and you get to know them. So I've got a good relationship with our leadership group in the locker room, and If they have questions, they know they can come and ask me, or, I keep them abreast if something's coming up or come down the pipe where we may have to make a move. And, I consult with some of those guys sometimes.
You mentioned another year free agency, another draft. Do you expect to be back here, especially if this team doesn't win some games down the stretch?
Yes.
Hey, Philo would like to remind you that TV should be easy.
Do you expect to be back?
Mhm.
Have you been told you definitely will be back?
I communicate with ownership all the time. I know Dave's talks about that continuously each time these questions come up. And we have a really good relationship with ownership, and we communicate constantly with them. And, there's confidence in the plan and where we're headed.
Joe, you mentioned when Dan asked about the draft, you rattled off a lot of guys. I don't think Deonte Banks' name came up. You guys have obviously invested a lot in him, entrusted him to be your number one quarterback. There's been a lot of effort concerns with Deonte Banks. How head scratching is that to you? And how do you look at him as a piece moving forward?
Yeah, there was one effort question on, the play against Philadelphia, and
CD Lamb play.
All right, with two, I mean, that's a hard play. Dak threw a good ball. It was inside. Safety took a bad angle. Again, I hear you though. I understand the question. Tay's a young player. We did invest a high draft pick in a first round pick as a corner. Played well a year ago. Changed the scheme, and again, we're the youngest defense in the league. It's not just Tay that would like to have some plays back. There's other people but we're not giving up on Tay. He's got the physical traits. He's shown the ability to match, the top receivers on other teams, and corner's a tough position to play. You're moving backwards and you're going against some of the greatest.
What do you mean by that, man? Because what do you mean he's shown that he's matched with other top wide receivers on other teams? Like, do we need to go look at the stats? Because my boy was getting cooked, and he's been getting cooked. So I'm not really sure that just because he has the physical traits is a good reason to say, oh, we're not giving up on him. I mean, and granted, you shouldn't. We invested a number one pick in him. But again, sometimes you just gotta admit that, all right, this guy's not the fit for us, and get rid of him. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think anyone right now, as a Giants fan, would be mad if we traded Tay Banks for a second round pick. I don't think anyone would be mad about that. If anything, we got to steal. So I'm calling BS on that one.
Athletes in the world that are moving forward, and there's balls that are going to be caught on you, and he's been in really good position, on some of them. So we're not going to give up on Tay. He works hard, he wants it, and I still believe he's got a bright future.
Not all on DJ, but when you look back just this offseason, do you wish you did anything differently addressing the quarterback position? I mean, I would say specifically Russell Wilson obviously was in here and not pursuing him more aggressively, or just in general, anything you wish you would have done differently?
I mean, you're talking specifically on the quarterback position?
Specifically on the quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no.
I mean,
you honestly have the quarterback. You think this is the best that could have been this season?
With the options that were available?
Yeah, like Russell Wilson.
I mean, when people are free agents, and you go through the process, you do what you do. If it's a good fit, then sometimes they come. If they're not, you can't make them. So, again, you go through the process of free agency, whether it's any position, and, that's how free agency works. And, players decide where they want to go and what they want to do. But some of that stuff's out of your control.
So you mentioned that repeatedly that you think you're close, and you've stressed that you're a young team, and a lot of these guys are going to be back next year. So I would assume, two-part question. You assume that next year with some seasoning and some different players, this team can make a pretty decent leap forward?
Yeah, I really do. I do.
Which and that's defined by what?
Yeah, we'll get into 2025 when we get there. I mean, I don't know what that looks like right now. We're focused on these last 7 games, but
I love how they avoid.
I do like where we are from a continuity standpoint, and I think that's important. Year over year, having a core nucleus of players that can lead and teach and help implement, the coach's message, the scheme, whatever it may be. Constant turnover and new players every year. That's tough. And the goal all along was to build something that's sustainable. And to do that, it takes time. And based on resources that you have, again, it's painful going through it, but I think where we are right now and where we're heading, yes, there should be.
I know you're not talking about 2025, but if that is all true about the nucleus and things like that, if you add in a new quarterback who might be a young quarterback, does that kind of change the timeline? Because now deal with a young quarterback. Now you need time to get him up to speed.
I mean, I don't. Depends who the player. I mean, you can look around the league where that's happened based on where different timelines. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe look at Houston. They dropped the.
I mean, for this is crucial, man. Again, so that's why I said though that if we're in the top 3, the Giants have to do everything in their power to choose to pick first. That is where we can absolutely get the guy that we want, instead of hoping that the team in front of you doesn't pick the guy that you want. But it's going to be crucial, man. We have to get the guy, and I think there's at least 2 guys. Shedeur and Cam Ward, but I want Cam. That's just me. I think he has a stronger arm. I think he's more fluid. But I feel like Shedeur has more of that grit and that it factor to where he's gonna play his hardest throughout the whole game. And I'm not saying taking away anything from Cam Ward, but with Shedeur it's different because for him he's been down so many times and he just has that fight. He has that fight in him, and I love that in a quarterback. I love that. So I'm gonna be cool with either one. If we go that route, I'm gonna be cool with either one, but I prefer Cam. That's just me.
Rookie quarterback into that roster, and he had success that rookie year. But I mean, there's a rookie at that position is there's going to be growing pains, and with any position, these kids are young, and we were talking about it today with some of the injury report, and it's 10 games in for these college kids. A lot of times that's it. We still got 7 games. We got a long way to go. So talking to those guys about being pros and how long the season is, and taking advantage of the off season. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean you got 4 or 5 offensive linemen coming back. You got Malik Neighbors, Wandale Robinson, Hyatt. There's 2 UFAs on offense, Greg Van Roten, at right guard, and Slayton, and then Pinnock on defense from a starter standpoint. So, yeah, again, when AT was healthy, and the starting 5, I believe they played just over 400 snaps together. I mean, that made a difference. I thought they did a really good job when everybody was healthy. So, yeah, I mean, with any quarterback, you want to be able to give them time and have weapons, and add in Theo to that, and Tracy and Singletary. So yeah, if hypothetically, I feel
like from the outside looking in, it feels like trade deadline wise, you maybe could have gotten something for him or Aziz. That's kind of what it seemed like on the outside. What was your trade deadline philosophy, and are you close to maybe a deal with them or anything like that?
Yeah, trade philosophy is the same as it's been in the past. Like we listen if people call, and if there's any players that we catch word of that may be available around the league and it makes sense for our roster, then we're going to look into it. So yeah, no different than it was in the past.
Closing the gap within the division has been a talking point over the last couple of years. How would you assess where you guys stand currently with that?
Yeah, we're 2-8. We're not good enough. Not good enough, and we got to get better at that.
Joe,
for sure.
Sorry, Joe. One of the roster decisions that's talked about often is the off-season plan to go into the season with Josh Azudu as your backup left tackle, knowing Andrew Thomas has an injury history. Is that a decision you would like to have redone in hindsight, and why did you feel confident in that when the plug was pulled after one start? Basically?
Yeah, I think going into the season, we didn't know Evan wasn't going to be available, and we knew Illuminor has versatility. He's played 4 spots on the offensive line, so that wasn't necessarily the plan. We knew that Illuminor could play either or, and it would give you optionality if Evan was healthy. And unfortunately, he wasn't healthy till the start of the year and missed the majority of camp. So we knew we had options. Josh Azudu's in there working hard. Carm's a really good coach, has confidence in Jermaine, and we're going to continue to develop Josh. He's got position flex at guard and tackle, which is important for this league. So, again, Josh started off a little slow in the Philly game, and then I thought he settled in well. And, again, we're going to keep working with him and, see how he continues to progress under Carm.
Joe, you mentioned Evan Neal. I know it's only one game, but what did you see from Evan? And is there confidence now that maybe you didn't have a couple weeks ago that maybe he has an opportunity here to kind of get to a level where maybe he hasn't shown yet in the league?
Yeah, Evan played well the other day. A lot of energy. He's had that in practice the last few weeks, and he's been practicing well. He transitioned that to the game, and it's hard. It's hard when you're the number 7 pick in the draft and you're not playing. And he's practicing at a high level. But Jermaine was playing well too, so took some time for us to make the move. And what I like about it is when his number was called, he was ready. And again, he went out and he played well and played with energy and was really good in the run game, was solid in the pass game. And, I'm happy for him because I know it's been hard for him, being injured and, not being able to play and wanting to play. So, I thought he did a good job the other night.
Just as a follow-up, Evan Neal has gotten a lot of attention. He's your second draft pick, one of the first rounders. Has it been hard for you to strike that balance, the idea of, if he gets in there and plays well, looks better for you and the front office and obviously for the team. But if he doesn't play, that's a strike against your first draft here. I mean, how important is that one specific spot to what you guys are trying to build here as a foundation?
Yeah, it's important. Again, a premium pick like that, you always want to bat 1,000. And, again, he's been injured and, again, we're looking forward with him and trying to build off the last game. So yeah, it's important that, he could come in and contribute for us and again, just help us win. That's what we're looking for. Whoever the best 5 are right now, we want them out there so we can go out and produce. And, again, I'm rooting for Evan. He's done everything the right way since he's been back on the grass. And, it paid off the other night and he played well.
You mentioned mistakes that you made after that first season. What specifically are you referring to? What would you do?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into specifics on mistakes, but my perceived, nobody's going to be harder on the decision-making process or on me than me. And, that's what keeps you up at night. Like you're always evaluating your decision-making, what went right in the process, what went wrong. But you can't put it back, and maybe you have a bad game plan one week and you can go get it the next week. Like for us, these decisions, aren't quick fixes and they can be impactful either way. So again, a lot of confidence in my staff and our process and, again, where we're heading.
The biggest decision of that offseason was extending Daniels. I mean, you're referring to that? That's what I'm getting at. 'Cause that's what people are going to say on the outside. That's what seemed like the biggest.
This past offseason?
No, when he got the extension.
I mean, we also extended AT, we extended Dex.
Stakes though, right?
No, again, and we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, again, you take the information you have, and there's a lot of good people in the building, a lot of smart people that know football, and you take the information you have and you add in analytics, the person, the structure that they're within, and can they be successful in our program with what we have, and what's our plan, how to utilize not just Daniel, but whatever individual it is, and what's the plan for success, and you let it play out.
Joe, just to clarify on the quarterback position with Daniel on the decision, will the quarterback that you start coming out of the bye, will the decision be based on what gives you the best chance to win that day's game? Is that what the football decision means?
Yeah, we're going to evaluate it the rest of the week, and the decisions we make will be football decisions.
Is it intended to give your team the best chance to win? Is that that's
what we're here to do. Yeah, I mean, we're going to do the best football decision for us to win games.
Joe, I think you keep saying, Joe, that how would you evaluate Daniel this season?
Yeah, again, we're going to go back through all that. We're 2-8. So again, everybody needs to, including myself, look in the mirror and how can we do things better? And again, that's what we're going to continue to do. I understand, you guys want to ask about Daniel, and it's the quarterback position. I mean, that's what comes with the territory, specifically in this market. And again, it's not all on one person. It's not all on one person.
I keep saying you're not far off. People are going to look at this and say the team is 2-8. Mm-hmm. You were able to finish 4-3 last year without even your starting quarterback, and they're going to say this team looks like it's worse in year 3 than it was in year 2. So how can you say you're not far off?
Yeah, the results have not been what we wanted to be. And I don't want to be sitting up here at 2-8 like that. That's not what we want, and nobody's happy about it.
You got
to understand that.
the game.
But I do see
because we're not
progress,
we're
and
not.
we're better in different areas. And again, we're going to evaluate all that stuff this week, but we're better in a lot of areas. We just got to figure out how to finish games. And again, we're in the games. We're not getting blown out in those games. We're 1-5 in close games, and that's the league. We have to develop the mentality that we're going to win and close out those games. And that's what we're going to look to do these last seven games of the season.
All right, so there's that, man. Let me know what you guys think. I really want to hear your guys' opinion on where you guys think the New York Giants are headed. Let me know what you guys think about what I'm saying. Listen, man, I'm not one of those people that are just going to put my own opinion out there. I respect everybody's opinion. So, if you feel like, hey, you missing the mark, or hey, I agree with you, let me know, man. Just because I really enjoy this. This is when it comes to talking about New York Giants football. I absolutely love discussing about my team, man. So anything that you guys have to say, any type of feedback, just reach out to me and let me know, man. But until then, like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about this content, and stay tuned for some more, fellas. I'm signing off. I'll holler at you boys later.